are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Welcome into The Breeze with VP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weekends. This is The Breeze. I am Harrison Arns running the board. We have host, VP in studio, and Haas coming in from the StreamYard. So again, you guys want to put a face to the voice, you can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, or I'm missing one. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. There we go. There's the last one. And if you want to join the conversation, Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Haas, how's it going, man?
And I'm coming in from the DMV, so let's get the location correct.
Look at him.
It's good. It's good.
Look at him. Look at him. Yeah, okay, Teresi. Look at you coming in.
Put respect on the DMV.
The DMV. Yeah, to try to explain it to folk that DC's not big. It's huge in people, but it's not geographically. It's just not big. But it's surrounded by Northern Virginia, which range depends on who you talk to. Mm-hmm. Woodbridge to DC, which is Arlington, Fairfax, Falls Church, Stafford County, Manassas, and then you cross the bridge from my hometown, Arlington, to DC. Now I was born 5 minutes from the Pentagon, so it's that close. Mm-hmm. You could drive through Northern Virginia, DC, and Maryland in 30 minutes.
That's weird to think about. That population seems so high to be able to get through that fast.
30 minutes. But if you keep driving 30 minutes, you're in Baltimore. And Baltimore doesn't like to be included in anything DC. Like they just it gets mad. It's kind of the difference here between Lincoln and Omaha. Okay. There's a real imaginary line that exists between the two spaces.
20 minutes away, but we're different people.
Yeah, we don't claim them. They don't want to claim us. They don't want to be a part of it. They're the little brother in the relationship and refuse to accept it. So the DMV is south of Baltimore, north of Woodbridge, Virginia. Okay. And it carries a lot of the same, because you can work for the government, federal government, and live in any one of three places. And that's generally how it works, is the folks who are a part of the hub that is the DMV, they're all similar and same and diverse, and no two counties are alike, it's pretty amazing to be a part of. So yeah, when he speaks to DMV,
it's very specific
in that it's all inclusive. Because outside of that, it is not all inclusive.
Not at all. You drive 30 minutes south, and it's a completely different place.
Oh, the Confederate capital of the world is another 30 minutes south of Woodbridge. So yeah, it's a little different. So much so, let me tell you, when I got recruited, and for the different schools that recruited me, so Black colleges recruited me first. Mm-hmm. And so Howard, which is, again, 15 minutes from my house, Virginia Union, which is in Richmond, Virginia State, which is in Petersburg, which are all Southern Virginia, and then Hampton, which is the southernmost part, all of them recruited me first. And my grandmother said, "You're not going anywhere south of the DMV." She didn't want me to go to Richmond. She was like, "No, do not go to VCU," because
the era that would have been too.
Yeah, 1980. Yeah. She was like, "No, you ain't doing it." So, but then finally, the thing that overrode was money. When that scholarship offer from a D1 showed up, she was like, "Oh, well, those are checks I don't have to write. Let's do that." You be careful though. So all good stuff. Hoss is right in being specific about the DMV. How you doing, brother?
Great. It was
you had a busy night last night.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to talk about the Elimination Chamber and how much that actually led to WrestleMania, unlike Royal Rumble. But since we talked about the difference from Northern Virginia and 30 minutes south of that and the Confederate flag, I'll talk about one funny thing I saw last night while watching the Elimination Chamber, and that was highlights of Shaq watching Mac McClung during the slam dunk contest and hearing the people around it.
Right.
I don't know if this is appropriate, but you let that guy during Black History Month destroy everyone.
Well, but that's exactly what should happen. That's exactly what should happen. The thing about the beauty of sports is that the lines become erased and become faded. That's the whole point and the whole purpose of sports. And it's what sports does better than anything in our culture and in our country is that sports connects. It makes similar and like of unsimilar things.
Mm-hmm.
Like diversity is real. And in sports where not all things can be bought and purchased, it's not about resource. It's about whether you're willing to work at a thing so much so that you become relevant and you become purposeful. That's what it is. And look, he's a Georgetown kid. He went to Georgetown, like a white kid in a predominantly black basketball program. Now, let me preface this by saying, most of the country's perception of Georgetown University is Patrick Ewing and John Thompson. That is not who Georgetown University is. Georgetown is a Catholic university. It is Notre Dame East, and it is about that business. Like in D.C., it sits on the highest point in D.C. for a reason. So to have a Catholic school become a basketball school, and then a predominantly black basketball school, and then if you looked at every other baseball program in Georgetown, it's predominantly white. So Mac was necessary in that space. Now, they couldn't even make it work. That's how bizarre this is. That as talented as he was and as big as that program is, they couldn't meet and mesh. That's, man. Hey, but Hoopers have known about Mac McClung for 5 years.
Oh yeah. When he first broke on the scene, I think the first tape I was seeing, it was high school games, and it was just like right then and there. It's like, okay, even if he doesn't develop a jumper, like he's gonna be able to jump over people like from day one. Like he was insanely athletic, and like it's like one of those things too. When it wasn't just the athleticism, but like he could put the ball on the deck, and it was the speed on top of the verticality. Like he was a solid player, and on defense, like he was playing hard defense in high school, which always gives me a lot of hope. I'm like, if you're that athletic and you can commit to defense, you'll find a way at least to the G League if you can be that athletic and play that good at defense.
Well, I love the fact, Hoss, I love the fact that this is so much so. Now, some people will catch heat and give heat over the fact that the Sixers signed him just in a two day just for this, which is really weird because think of how many players who could dunk, who could have gone in and won the slam dunk contest if somebody had just sponsored them for a 2-day.
Yeah, slam dunk. The slam dunk contest is getting really weird. Last year, I think I could probably say I've maybe seen some of those players combined for a total of 30 minutes on the court.
Right.
It was like they're literally just bringing up no one that no one knows yet. And it's like, yeah, they can jump high, but we're at a point where we've seen everything. So unless you got some real, it's kind of like wrestling. If you bring me a character, so that's what I want. It's like we've seen all the dunks at this point.
So bring in Billy Hoyle to the slam dunk contest.
right. Bring Billy Hoyle to the skills contest and watch how many people from the streets of New York, Atlanta, and Compton who are really upset that they weren't invited in because I don't know, I have handles too. So.
Doing the yoga and everything.
right. Like it's all, but look, last night was so good for peripheral fans.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was good for the diehards because it gave them at a very core the thing that they've been clamoring for, which is something different, something unique. And it's sad and glorious at the same time that it had to take a white player to come in and shake it up again because there's only been one other winner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
Right. I mean, but there are guys who compete like Tom Chambers. You can go back to Wally Zerbiak.
Brent Barry.
Brent Barry. But Brent Barry was the only guy who won it.
Yeah.
And there have been some dudes. I mean, think about it. Rex Chapman never won it, and that would have been the lead. Like if somebody said, "Name a white dude in the NBA who won the slam dunk contest," in my head would have gone straight to Rex Chapman.
For a while there, I was like, Larry Nance, and I'm like, wait, no.
He's just light skinned. He's just light skinned.
Come on. Mute his mic.
That is hilarious. That is awesome. That is so awesome. Like, shout out to the light skinned brother. Yeah. No, but it was good. It was good. It was the only thing in it. Like the skills competition, they could tweak it a little and make it a little more interesting, and then have some different people do it. Like, I would say, have this under 6'1", the under 6 foot slam dunk contest.
That'd be cool.
Right? Have the over 7 foot skills competition.
And don't give out 10s
Right.
for every dunk, because then you get into a real pickle.
Yeah,
Down the line.
Scott Hill. Yeah, Thunder Dan Marley was another one that who could get up and bounce and thump. There were some. Andre Kirilenko. Like I was with him in Utah, and Kirilenko was a freak show. But you forget, Kirilenko was 6'10", so
You don't have to jump that high.
Thunder Dan Marley. There was also a buddy of mine who played for the Wizards back in the day, Tom Gugliotta, who could also thump. But Googs was 6'9", so it didn't really count. That he can get it done. Yeah, the NBA weekend. Can I say that yesterday was oddly a better sports day than I thought? Because normally the Sunday after the weekend after Super Bowl is usually dead time. It's tough because you have to dive deep into college basketball. But yesterday there was the XFL Open, which surprisingly good football, especially in the early game. And a matter of fact, Haas, I don't know if you caught it, but for the Houston franchise, there's a little dude that we're familiar with, Dejoun Lee, plays for Houston, who played at Lake Braddock in Virginia. He was a point guard right there at our rival,
awesome.
And one of my favorite guys to coach. Like I actually coached him. He's one of the good dudes. Also, UFC had a great night. WWE was smart enough to put their night on Saturday rather than Sunday.
Oh yeah.
NBA All-Star was actually pretty good.
It was better than I thought.
Right?
I wasn't giving it much hope.
Right? Like and I just thought it was a much better college baseball started in full.
Yep.
College softball is in its second week. I just went, what happened?
There was no dead period.
This was a great, it was a great time. Today's a great Sunday. In sport. So we got lucky. Like, thank you for everybody for coming together and having look, if they really it would have been perfect if the USFL had started at the same time. But the USFL loves us because they want to give us football during baseball season. So well done, man. That was pretty good.
I can just imagine too, a lot of these companies are just like wolves waiting for the NFL to be done. It's like we need these Sundays. They get so eager to fill those slots again. And sorry, Haas, I cut you off. Go ahead.
So one thing that is missed in all this, last year during the slam dunk contest, they're talking about why is the slam dunk contest last? It's not even good anymore. The 3-point contest should be last. And just last night showed why it's always last. It was just they fixed it again. And it just took one person to fix it. And so put $5 million on the line, put Ja Morant in it, put Zion in it, put people in it and make it electric, or bring Mac McClung back again and put him in a Bulls jersey next year. It doesn't matter. But it deserved to be last. It is something that we always watched growing up. It's the free throw line dunk. Jordan, Neek. There's so many things that we just remember from the slam dunk contest. Vince Carter and T-Mac and all that. So just I'm glad that with evolution, with changes, with the Pro Bowl is boring or the Pro Bowl can injure people. We have to make all these changes. They didn't change the order of the slam dunk contest. They're not going to make too many changes there.
Haas, what if they did this? And this is the creative mind in me. What if they made it all champions? Well, if they did 1 year where it was just all of the defending eligible slam dunk champions,
Oh, that'd be cool.
and then you put the $1 million prize on it. Winner take all, right? Because then, right, anybody that's won it, you can do a separate one for the next generation.
I was gonna say, yeah, you'd have to be, the hard part would just be because obviously the newest guys, the most recent, are gonna typically dominate that.
Well, that's only so if you don't include people who haven't won it who have skills to do it.
That's true. Yeah, there's a way you can play with that to make it work.
I mean, Haas, imagine first of all, go through the champions. Harrison, can you pull up the past slam dunk champions? And then if you did that, Haas, and then you got a sponsor behind it, Gillette, whatever, Converse, All Star, I don't care, but
Kia.
whatever it is that. Right. If it's free flights forever for a year, every NBA dude would be it.
Okay, so let me give you the last 5 years
Yep.
here. So obviously this year, Mac McClung.
Okay.
Last year was a weird one. A bunch of guys that no one really knew their
Right.
story. Obi Toppin from
Right.
the Knicks.
Right.
Year before that, Anthony Simons, Trailblazers. Then you had Derrick Jones Jr.
Yeah.
And then you had Hamidou Diallo. I don't even know if he's in the
Diallo,
league.
yeah.
Diallo, is he still in the league?
I don't know that he's. I don't know.
I s-
And you could do. Here's the other thing. You could have the slam dunk contest only be for people from the G League.
Yeah, that could work too. Because I mean, there was an era I forgot between 15 and 16 where Zach LaVine won it twice. I think it was him and Aaron Gordon were going at it. Those were good, but again, they kind of just messed that up by how they were scoring.
You could put from Texas. Would you put Doncic in there? You could put whoever you want in there as long as you put a prize in it that makes them willing to take the chance to go and participate.
Yeah, you got to pay them, which is something. That's why it's like not cool anymore. Like they don't get paid really to go and even do it.
How about an over 40 one? Over 40. I know this sounds crazy, but I would love to see Vince Carter do a 180 dunk.
Well, I mean, he still can.
I know.
can.
And it could be
Just-
sponsored by AARP or something, and just
Well, I don't want the old dudes. I want.
I know.
I
I want
want-
to see
I
if any old dude's that competitive that they're gonna go
So the-
train.
So the winner, McClung, won $100,000.
Oh, so you do get six figures.
$100,000. Runner up gets 50, and then third and fourth get 20. But I want to just quick math. We know how much the NBA makes on NBA All-Star Saturday.
Yeah, it's a lot more.
It's look, stop it. Like if you put $1 million into the prize for all of the things that you won, right? So the winner of the other 3 competitions, plus you have to pay the players who play in the futures game. But if you did that and then you had one other sponsor, because we know that for $1 million, everybody will sell their soul to be a part of the NBA. Well, then do that to add to the event and to make it special. Look, $1 million prize for the slam dunk contest changes it. Even if you made it $500,000, there is a number for NBA players. We should have asked Bryce that earlier.
Yeah.
It was like, what number would it take for John Morant?
Yeah, it's gonna be a big number. So
Haas,
Five.
if you're John Morant, and the NBA says, okay, we're going to raise the slam dunk winning prize. We're going to raise the prize pool. So the current prize pool being at $200,000, we're going to raise it to $2 million for each thing in it, right? Which changes the 3-point contest, changes the skills contest, and then it also changes the All-Star game because people are going to want to play and they'll enjoy doing it. But what's the number? Is it 250? Is it 300,000? Is it 400,000? Is it $500,000? You don't have, like, for $500,000, I'm pretty sure for one day's work, every NBA player would be back at the table. Is that not fair?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want my guy Ja coming to the slam dunk contest, it's $1 million just to show up and $5 million for the prize winner. They'll do it. They'll do it.
I don't think it's going to take $5 million. I don't think it's going to take $5
So
million.
he's making about $12 million a year right now.
I don't think it takes with the 12 million.
That's
think
not
it-
how he's very under. He's a 40 million guy.
Yeah, that's just
Well,
this year. His
well-
contract plays out to the 40.
Well, but having been around Major League All-Star players, NFL Pro Bowl players, and how they process playing in those games and what they do with the money that they. Most of that money is set aside money for added value to their life that they have not accounted for
Right.
or planned or budgeted. And the Hawaii money in the Pro Bowl used to be this was a payoff to your wife or your mom and dad with a trip to Hawaii.
Mhm.
Like that was it. And it was okay, wait a minute, I'm gonna get 30,000 plus they're gonna pay for everything. And
Family's
I get to
back,
bring
yeah.
3 people, or I get to bring how many other people. And then you say, honey, you know what, thanks for putting up for carrying everything for the 6 months that the football season is. Here's the payoff.
Mhm.
And I can tell you for a fact, a lot of the players, the married players, this was money that went to their wife. Like this was okay, sweetie. You can go and
Yeah, it's a
you know,
good trip.
here's 60,000 to go do whatever you want to do. That's a lot of it. The same applies for basketball, but think about it. The slam dunk contest, while it has its physical tax on you, is not the same as you going out and tackling people and blocking people and getting run over.
Yeah.
So for one day, if you said to Ja, $500,000 if you win it. Now, the ego says yes, but the other thing, the pride thing is you don't want to go and then lose.
Mhm.
That's the reason.
You don't want to go and then lose. But if you lose, the difference between you walking out with $500,000 and $250,000 solves a whole lot of stuff. Right? Like, oh, this didn't go the way I wanted, but here's $250,000 or $100,000. I think there's a way to salvage it. I just hope that they get proactive and creative in it. That's all.
Yeah, you got to make it cool again, and part of that is
Scott's funny. Scott's on the text. He said, "I want to have them bring back the tug of war and the rowing contest." The old. Harrison, are you old enough to remember the Superstars shows?
no, not the superstar shows.
So the Superstars, Haas, are you old enough? You're old enough to remember Superstars, right?
Yeah.
Right? So what they would do, they did it with celebrities
Mhm.
first, where they would have these athletic events. And they'd come up with 2 teams, or they'd say, okay, it was CBS versus NBC versus ABC, and all the stars from Charlie's Angels and Welcome Back Kotter would compete.
That sounds like a good show.
Oh,
Way
it's
to go.
amazing! It's amazing. It was amazing. Mwah! So good. But then it went to the players,
Uh-huh.
to the athletes, and you'd have there's several videos. There's one where they have like a 100-yard sprint, then they have like a mile, then they have rowing, then they have swimming, then they have like all sorts of events, and then the end of it would be the tug of war, and they would dig into the sand and just pull for 28 minutes until somebody collapsed. And amazing. But the one that comes to mind was it was Pele, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Wayne Gretzky amongst the folks who were racing.
Oh my god!
And Gretzky blew them away.
I was gonna say I want to see what Wayne
Gretzky blew them away, and everybody, their jaw dropped because it was like, okay, think of Mac McClung. Okay, Gretzky,
Yeah.
you really are the great one.
That's,
Like,
that's what a goat looks like.
right. That's what the goat looks like. He out here doing work. So, yeah, I think I'd also. Part of me wants to do one here at the ticket.
Oh, that'd be fun. I'd be curious just to see everyone's skill sets.
Oh, yeah, there's some old folks out here. Headhunter says the Superstars were fabulous. Loved it when I was a kid. Yeah, I think that would be a wonderful way to get back in.
Absolutely. And then we got to go to break here. So, well, you know what? We'll probably go a little bit over on the next one, and we'll probably just run the station ID right when we get going. But we will still going all the way up until 1:30, and then we'll have some college hoops as well to kick it after that. So again, if you want to chime in, Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. This is The Breeze. I'm Harrison. That's DP and Haas. We'll be back right after this break.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. One simple call, a main customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest, quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit Lincoln.com.
Veterans, do you know what local, state, and federal benefits and services you're eligible to receive? Do you want help navigating the application or appeals process? Speak to your county veteran service officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. You've served our country. Now let us serve. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
I wanted to quit for so long, but I didn't know where to start.
I was afraid of what people would think, but then I found the right support to start my recovery journey. 1 in 14 Americans reports experiencing a substance use disorder, a treatable medical condition. Treatment can take many forms, so there are a variety of options, and find the one that works best for you. Recovery from drug addiction is possible.
Paid for by the CDC, sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive, but some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
I'm Brian. At 58, doctors told me I had the heart of a 37-year-old man. They told me that after my heart transplant surgery. If you're a smoker, here are some tips in case that happens to you. First, you have to quit smoking before you have a transplant. So quit now and never feel sorry for yourself. I only feel sorry for that 37-year-old man.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcaster Station and this station.
Hey, you got any gum?
Yeah, check my backpack.
What's this?
Oh, that's naloxone. It can reverse an opioid overdose. I decided to always keep it on me. It saved his life.
I'm so sorry. That makes me want to have it with me too.
You totally should. Check the pharmacy. It was actually really easy to get, and it's easy to use.
I definitely will. Thanks.
Paid for by the CDC, sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, early diagnosis prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes wares.
I wanted to quit for so long, but I didn't know where to start.
I was afraid, but then I found the right support to start my recovery journey. Americans reports experiencing a substance use disorder, a treatable medical condition. Treatment can take many forms, so there are a variety of options to explore and find the one that works best for you. Recovery from drug addiction is possible.
Paid for by the CDC, sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids. First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse. Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
It's a battle of the big cats today in NCAA men's basketball on the ticket as the Memphis Tigers travel to the Lone Star State to take on the second-ranked Houston Cougars. It'll be a home run for point guard Kendrick Davis, who's averaging 21 points and 6 assists as they look to upset the 24-2 Cougars, who have a 6-game winning streak. That game tips off 2 p.m., and you can hear all the action right here on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Perth 93.7 The Ticket. We're listening to The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weekends. This is The Breeze. I'm Harrison Arns during the board. We have host Haas and DP here as well. In the last segment, we're talking about the NBA dunk contest, how it definitely feels like it's salvaged a little bit after yesterday. But there's still just things like, and it's not just the NBA, like even the NFL. I think this year, the like all the events they do for the All-Star, the Shrine Bowls, all that's kind of just downhill lately. So I do wonder if the NBA can actually get a hold of it. I'd like to see like the skills contest. I think you can get more creative with that. I'd even love to see coaches do the skills contest. I think that'd be hilarious to see like which coaches in the league actually have the best hoop skill still. But again, if you guys want to join the conversation, Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. We got John from Cortland. Must have been a lot of Superstars fan. John from Cortland always says Superstars was great. See comfort zones challenged. And then Head Hunter also said the same thing. So again, appreciate you guys jumping in, and you can continue to do so. And then, that movie, White Men Can't Jump.
It's definitely getting Googled. It's definitely getting searched. And sadly so, because that means that people aren't aware of it.
So that's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, like that. Jay and I laugh all the time about the whole Marcus Johnson scene where he goes in the grocery store and tries to rob the guy to raise some cash to bet. Because that's actually Marcus Johnson from the great legendary Marcus Johnson from UCLA fame and from the Milwaukee Bucks and from the league. And so it's just fantastic. Like I just, there's so much part of it. And there are people that would say the basketball was bad, but I'm like, no, it was exactly what you put in a movie. That's
I mean, it's,
it's
supposed to be gritty, cheap kind of.
Well, the reality is Woody Harrelson is actually a better basketball player than Wesley Snipes. Like, in real life, Woody's a baller. Wesley can play, but Wesley's athletic.
Mm-hmm.
Woody's a baller, and there's a difference. There's a difference. So, Haas, if you're having a draft and it's Wesley and Woody, take Woody first.
So, as much as I want to talk about going to the Sizzler, probably should. We're going Sizzler. We're going Sizzler.
It's perfect.
Big on pie said we're going to the Sizzler.
It's perfect. It's perfect. It's
text
perfect.
line's right on
like
cue.
It's perfect. It's such a quotable movie. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's so hard to make something this pretty look like the movie is so quotable. I love those stinking movies. So bravo, Max McClung. You brought it back, man. You brought it back. Well done. Well done. As a matter of fact, I suggest this. Go immediately and book Mac McClung and John Moran in the next version of White Man Can't Jump.
God.
Like, let's do it now while it's hot. Make the movie happen. Make it happen.
That'd be so good. That's a perfect duo right there.
Make it happen. I just, let's do it. I'm all in.
As much as I love basketball and this great storytelling, we should probably transition to the storytelling from last night in Elimination Chamber, just because.
What stories were told? What stories were told, Hoss? What stories were told?
There's a couple of things. There was no surprises, so that was a little frustrating. But it did look like Triple H finally had a little bit more control. It wasn't ruined like Royal Rumble. So by that I mean the men's Elimination Chamber allowed each man to shine and each person to show why they might be the future or deserving. Being Seth Rollins was in there. So Montez Ford
why they're not, or why they shouldn't be.
So Montez Ford with his Spidey sense and his Spider-Man scene, climbing to the top and falling on everyone, and then him doing the people's elbow but getting interrupted. He needs to be pushed. there aren't enough belts in WWE, but he needs to be pushed. And it's been said for a while, and they kind of took them off the TV for, I'd say, about 9 months. I don't know why they took the Street Profits off TV, but Montez Ford needs to be pushed. So that was one thing. I don't know why Liv got eliminated so early. She was the second best star in
the way she got eliminated.
I like how she got eliminated.
Right.
I
think that was the sole thing.
Yeah. The way she laughed when Ronda Rousey was about to make her pass out and then doing it again, that's just really making her a fan favorite. And then I don't know what to say about Brock, so I'm going to pause there. We'll definitely... Fine, go ahead. What do you want to say about Brock?
Okay. So I'm a grown man. And what I appreciate in the storytelling is that I identify things that work and things that don't work. You once again wasted Brock and Bobby Lashley. You wasted them. What I would have done was sent them into the chamber and destroy everybody. Why? Because I'm going to, like I would have, like that would have been the thing. And at some point I would even ponder having Brock and Bobby be the tag team champions, right? Just have them realize at some point that they're the two alphas and let them get together and go, Undertaker, Kane, let them go big boy tag team wrestling and just destroy people for a while. Because you've already said for the next 6 months, you're not pushing either of them for a belt. You're not pushing either of them for a real rivalry. You can't build and just say that it's going to be Brock and Bobby for the next 6 months because you can't focus on them. Like you can't. The two most physically gifted, impressive athletes you have in the entire program, you don't know what to do with. You have no idea. Like, and then you just went in, you bring back Glamazon, and then you've got the young Rodriguez girl. Push. You could have done the same thing you did with Edge to give him his run. You could have done that with Glamazon. You saw her last night. If you put her in with Charlotte, it's sold out. As the feature, it's sold out. If you put Glamazon versus Rousey, it's sold out. If you put Glamazon versus Belair, sold out. What are you doing?
Literally, next sentence on my paper: Glamazon versus Rhea all day. That
Yes.
stole the show all day.
Yes.
The double power bombs, like they're amazing, and it's. I don't know if you saw the press conference afterwards, but she was a mentor to Rhea and NXT, and just knowing that they're pretty similar and they should just dominate for a long time, but no one's allowing it. I don't get it.
Know how to do that, Hoss. Like it takes very little. And then let me say this: Seth Rollins' back must be so sore from carrying WWE. It's not Roman Reigns. It's Seth. What are we doing? The layup of all layups. If you really want to give a rival to Roman Reigns, give him Seth.
Yeah, Don from the text line says Seth storytelling and Montez needs to be a star.
Yes. Like we're all out there. I was getting texts last night during the event, and I'm just going, oh my goodness gracious, they're onto something, right? Because people are talking about it.
Yep.
But it's because, contrary to public belief that they have less talent, they have more. And it's just the booking that needs to be, somebody needs to foot up their butt. Because it just, like Seth, how do you have Seth as a middle of the program guy? What are you doing? You had Bobby and Brock as the second battle? On what planet?
I'm curious, like, you guys have been watching the sport long enough. We don't have time to answer it now, but I'm curious, like, why do you think they struggle so much today finding the narratives that seem very obvious to you guys? Maybe you can dive in on that next segment. Haas, I'll let you kind of respond here before we go to break, though.
So just keep it simple. Why make things so complicated? So this person right here, they listened. Kofi, they listened. They're not listening to Seth Rollins when he's out there. Seth Rollins, when he's out there, it's so loud. And I know DP's going to say, well, Sammy doesn't deserve it. And we'll talk about Sammy. When Sammy is out there, it is so loud. That's why I talked about Liv. She's a fan favorite. Why are we making it so difficult? Make the people that look like they can kill people, that have some charisma, kill people. Make the people that already have all the charisma do stuff. And then if they can't do anything and are robotic and boring, then get them off the show. It's pretty easy. Why make it complicated?
No,
Why make it complicated? We'll leave with it right there. This is The Breeze on 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. We'll be back right after this break.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees 40-hour work week, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain heavy metals and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. With the Broadcasters Association, this station.
Veterans, do you know what state and federal benefits and services do you want navigating the application process? Speak to your county veteran service officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. You served our country, now let us serve you. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Mercado today at 84th and Havelock, or visit their website, cpmercado.com, to see current deals.
The Ticket Water Cooler.
Big Ten running backs in their top 25 returning in 24/7 sports. You can certainly argue that Anthony Grant could be in there. Nobody would bat an eye.
That's just because the Iowa running back ended the season on a higher note. I don't care about the end of the season. Look at the entire season. Anthony Grant had a great season.
The good news for Nebraska is if Anthony Grant, it's like he's going to be rushing 2 years ago.
Gabe Ervin, who was your starter 2 years ago.
So, I mean, they've got a great room.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic we know about. We're here to change that.
I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Do you remember your favorite? I sure do. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Teachers push students to do their best and help kids when they struggle. They make their classrooms welcoming and safe for all. They create engaging lessons that help students access complex concepts and make connections. Our public school teachers and students help make this the best school year yet.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association, this station.
You're listening to the with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into the last segment of The Breeze, and then we'll have some college hoops after to kick it off to you guys, and that will go on. And then we still have The Breeze later today. We still have some of the softball girls and Ricky C. Simmons as well. So like I said, it is a loaded Sunday, and I'd imagine The Ticket will continue to be that way for a long time. So definitely appreciate you guys listening. And over the break, you guys were kind of talking about the constant missing the narrative by WWE. So Haas, I had to cut you off before, but I'll let you kind of continue where you took off last segment.
Well, let's talk about something that I think was just unique last night, and that is the main event of the Elimination Chamber. The crowd being in Montreal was like CM Punk in Chicago 2011, John Cena, he's leaving, and just how crazy the crowd was. WWE didn't change the script because of the crowd, which is the right move, actually. It's the right move. I actually believe that Roman Reigns should keep the belt for another year. Maybe it's one belt, not two, but with who he's beaten in the last 3 years and the things that he's done and how much he's evolved and grown, like, he's so good at his job. You got to keep him as a champ for even longer. I know people love Cody, but Cody's nowhere near his level. Nowhere near his level. With that said, there's no way Sammy was going to win last night. It's just DP has talked about how unbelievable that would have been with where they had Sammy last year. This is what I want to say. The crowd being the way it was for 15 minutes. The match couldn't even start because the crowd was so electric. That was awesome. I just want to give props to that. But don't ruin Roman Reigns being the tribal chief at WrestleMania.
I don't know that I care about Roman Reigns as the tribal chief. I don't know that I care that he keeps the title or not. I don't care. Because you just have to, I mean, there's history behind it. Bruno Sammartino held the title for 7 years. Like there's a Harley Race held it. Like that used to be the way wrestling ran. So I'm familiar with what it's like with that. But you had additional territories where people could separate and devour, consume whatever way they wanted. I'll say this about Sami Zayn, and I was not team Sami Zayn until Friday night. Until Friday night. Well, no, but here's what. The moment, that special moment, Friday night, where he stood in the ring and was present enough not to get in the way of greatness happening. He simply stood in the ring and allowed the fans, who are the real reason in the real show always, that they're great, and he let them be great for him. Now, his performance last night certainly added to my respect for him, because his performance last night, not only in the match itself, but in the press conference. The press conference, Sami Zayn went up points with me because his ability to storytell is important, and it's really cool. Now, if you gave that same opportunity to Cody, well, we saw what Cody does with it, because in a moment face to face with Sammy, he outshone Sammy. Like them standing in the ring for the last 2 weeks with the microphone. Cody's like, "Oh no! I was born for this, bro. Like I'm a legend. I'm a legacy in this deal. I understand it. Wrestling, we haven't even allowed Cody to be great. That's my real issue, is that Seth Rollins is being hidden. Montez Ford lets you know that he's as good on the microphone as anybody that exists. We also know that, I don't know, Cody could carry it with the microphone. There are people in the company who could add value by raising up to the level that Roman Reigns is. Roman Reigns has never been the most interesting person on the microphone. He's never been the most interesting person in the ring. The story writers are really interesting around Roman, because they know they've got 4 generations of Samoan wrestlers that they can go to tell those stories of what this means and how it's done. Oh, and by the way, you've got the best storyteller in Paul Heyman riding shotgun. But if you put Heyman with Cody, look, man, we got another 7 years before we start hearing the end of it. If you put Heyman with Seth and let them two, it becomes DMX or DGNX. It becomes DGNX. At that level, it becomes all of the things, the great stuff that we come to see. And Hoss, I'll share this with you. Harris and I were talking in break, and I said this. What I want, and this would show me that WWE gets it, is I need one pay-per-view that's all the women in the company. All the women in the company, especially the ones at the top. I need all the NXT champions. I need all of this. I need 3 hours of nothing but the women wrestlers at their best being elevated and amplified. That's it. I don't care how you do. You can do it over the top rope. You can do battle royal. You can do elimination chamber. You can do, King of the Ring. You can do whatever way, but it needs to be done.
Yeah, because WWE is kind of like, I see the UFC as another company that did that really well. There's some bad women out there,
Man,
and the UFC, the girl cards are almost fun to watch in the UFC. They are some.
Look, if they
bad
did,
women.
if UFC and WWE said, okay, on Saturday it's UFC and it's nothing but women on the card, and then Sunday in a pay-per-view it's WWE and it's nothing but women on the card, those
Weekend's
would be
plan.
the 2 biggest sellers of the year.
Yeah.
Well, they've already made a couple matches for WrestleMania. So Ripley and Flair, Bianca, Asuka. They have some of the women's matches, and
I'm not interested in either one of those.
well, Ripley. I mean, we have seen it a lot. I think Damage Control versus Lynch, Lita, and Trish is going to come out. I really see some veterans joining Lynch, unless they're
Why
going to
wouldn't
do.
you, Hoss? Let me ask you this: why wouldn't it be Bayley versus Charlotte?
I don't know why they didn't do that. I don't know why.
Isn't that the best match? Like if you said to me, if you took Belair and then brought back Lita and said, I'm going to put Lita versus Bianca Belair, or Glamazon versus Bianca Belair, all the pay-per-views are sold. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. If you had old school versus old school, you get Natalya, who outperforms everybody every match ever. You could literally put her with anybody in NXT. Give her the belt for a night. For one night. Every wrestling fan across the world would stand and applaud. I don't understand what the people there are thinking.
There's matches that definitely need to be made and returns that need to happen that aren't going to happen. The 2 returns being Sasha Banks and Mandy Rose. Those returns would be awesome, and you could do a lot with your women's pay-per-view, or you could do a lot at WrestleMania. What's Rousey going to do? What's Liv going to do? There's some veterans that are too good not to use, and what's the Glamazon going to do? Those are my questions on the women's side. I will say this about Seth Rollins. He stole the show last year at WrestleMania with Cody, and then he gave him 3 wins. So I agree with what you're saying. Like Seth just kept giving and giving and giving and giving, which now seems like Brock Lesnar who keeps giving and giving and giving. Seth's going to steal the show again. And I know people hate this, but it's going to be Logan Paul and Seth. And it's going to be the best match, even though it's going to be in the middle of the card. It's not going to start the show. It's not going to end the show on either of the nights. It's going to be the best match. And it just is. It just is.
I don't care.
Do you like the Logan Paul story arc right now?
I don't put Logan Paul, like, if you really want to do something, like, I mean, there are people to match him up. I'm not going to burn Seth Rollins on it.
Yeah,
That's not fair to Seth Rollins. That's saying Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to put you out there with Daniel Jones.
Slap to the face.
Right, like it's an insult. Like, I don't know. No. Give
Logan Paul is a future world heavyweight champion.
No, stop.
He is.
That's the thinking that got what was David Arquette? David Arquette won the title because
David Arquette couldn't do anything. This guy can do.
He's still right. No, he's still wrestling now. No, we're not talking about wrestling. You're talking about a dude performing, flipping himself, and throwing himself across the ring. That's not wrestling. It's not. I don't care that you can look. I can go to AEW and watch dudes that couldn't break glass, dudes who couldn't break wind, wrestling and doing flips and spins and all that stuff. I'm not interested. If you walked into a room and there was a closet and I had to fight you to get out of it, that's who I want to see wrestling. If I think I can smash you up while you attempt to backflip or roll, I don't want to watch. I don't care. I don't care.
Let me do this because there's probably a minute left. Is there any way they will treat this like Kofi Mania and WrestleMania 30 with Daniel Bryan and change things up with what just happened this weekend with Sami Zayn and somehow get him involved in the main event? Or is it the obvious thing that's been going on since August, which is the Usos versus Owens and Sami?
They're going to drag it out and it'll be whatever it's going to be. I don't, at this point, I just want to know what it is. Like, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not going to be impressed. I'm going to watch it and emotionally they'll storytell and get us in there. But we've seen this version of it before because they split the Usos before. They already did that. And if nobody is going to beat up Paul Heyman because of it, then there's no payoff. Like, give me Sammy beating up, or give me Jay beating up Paul Heyman, and I'm all in. I'm all in because he did that. Because he's the one that broke up the bloodline. It wasn't Sammy, it was Paul.
With the court, yeah, definitely. And I just, with Friday night, the first thing I thought of was, are they going to do an Occupy Raw or Occupy SmackDown like they did in the past, where they're just going to take over? So appreciate you bringing that up. It's 100% true. Where you really got to take advantage of this momentum. Go ahead, Harrison. I cut you off.
The best text of the day.
Yeah, and I'll let you. Are you referring to Don? And Don says, and yet we aren't talking about Gunther.
He's going to go against Brock Lesnar. I don't know why, but he's going to go against Brock Lesnar. And he's going to beat Brock Lesnar because they don't want him to lose. That's just what infuriates me. Like, seriously.
That is so good. That is so good. That is such a good text. I love it. I love it. Man.
Sheamus and Drew, they need to do something too. We're forgetting about them. And they're gonna be pushed aside, and they're gonna do a lot with Ray and Dom, and I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Cena in Theory, but that's what's gonna come about.
I don't want to see Dom in Theory ever again. Like, ever. Ever. I don't even want to see them as jobbers. I don't want to see them on my TV.
So bad. The only reason why I like Dom is because it brings out Rhea Ripley and she's amazing. But other than that, he's so bad.
Man, oh man. Amen, brother. Oh, good stuff.
Yeah, we better wrap it up here though, because we do have some college hoops to get to. We got a really good game coming up right here on the ticket. We got Memphis versus Houston. Number 2 Houston, and Memphis not ranked, but don't sleep on them. They're 20-6 so far on the season, so should be a good game. I do expect Houston to win just because they've been on an absolute tear. but should be a good game nonetheless. Again, appreciate you guys listening. This has been The Breeze. I'm Harrison Arns. That's DP and Haas. We still got plenty of shows left, all right here on The Ticket. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.